This video is a bit overdue. I wanted to make this earlier, but I had my 100 sub specials coming out, so I figured I'd work on them first, then I can do this. So a while back, the creator of Chuck, Crawler, made a hybrid war, which is a little different than the others, because we are still trying to beat his hybrid, Moses, but all the contributors have to be from like a specific country. Or maybe or maybe not. I don't really know. I mean, the people got very confused at the rules. So I decided to throw my hat into the ring and make a new hybrid for this contest. Only getting to use one country for all your contributors does make this a bit more challenging, but I don't shy away from a challenge. So to prove I can, I made sure every single contributor was from the same place, that being the United Kingdom, where I'm from, which isn't really your first thought when you think of a country with a large amount of animals, but I've managed to make it work and create quite the formidable force. Starting with the base, arguably one of the most famous dinosaurs to come out of England, the Baryonyx, providing a decent base for a hybrid. Not too big, but not too small either. The hybrid we're fighting against only weighs around 1.5 tons, so we should still have a decent amount of strength compared to it. And also, something I want to bring up now is that with the whole theming around different countries, I decided to theme this around a certain legend from British mythology, Spring-Heeled Jack, which means I have a few things to achieve with this guy, making him incredibly nimble with strong legs, which won't make him capable of jumping across buildings or over walls, but should still help him, as well as having sharp claws being his primary weapon, maybe even with some metal infused into them, and making him incredibly elusive, making him a deadly nighttime hunter, very good at navigating in the dark. So, let's start off with the weapons. There's really only one group to turn to when it comes to large, strong claws, and luckily for me, there just so happens to be a species of European Megaraptorans that existed during the early Cretaceous in England. And any of those who know about these Megaraptors will know that they are a goldmine of traits, providing much stronger arms and finger dexterity with much longer claws, capable of slashing through opponents, as well as adding hollower bones, meaning that a hybrid will be surprisingly lightweight for its size, which will be increased thanks to the next contributor. I may be breaking the rules a little bit with the scaling, but I feel like this should still work well enough to get what I need. So our third and final prehistoric contributor is the Iguanodon, arguably the most famous herbivore to come out of England. It provides similar benefits to what the Mortalodon had from Edmontosaurus, which are its large enhanced tail vertebrae connecting to its leg anatomy, allowing this creature to get up to speed faster and run for a lot longer without tiring out. As well as this, we're going to be taking its thumbs. It has thumbs, but also with these large thumb spikes, allowing it to much better stab into creatures. Iguanodon also helps with size, not a massive size increase, but just a slight one. As well as that, thanks to the unique feet pads that these Iguanodons have, it allows them to run better without having to worry about stepping on anything. If they step on anything bad, then they can still continue running, thanks to their protective feet cushioning. Now, when it comes to keeping congruity and adding new features, it gets quite limiting because the UK really doesn't have that much stellar wildlife. Thanks to a few generations ago, the government deciding to hunt all the big predators like the wolves, lynxes, and bears for the interest of their own safety. I'm so glad we voted for a better Britain. But anyways, the next contributor will help strengthen the already powerful legs on this creature, the osprey, which I believe are definitely found in the UK. This will greatly strengthen the legs, as well as providing those toes with a set of some sharp talons, allowing it to better pin down prey and grab them, as well as for the osprey, we'll be taking its eyes, its vision. It may not be the first bird you'd think of when it comes to vision, but they still have great vision. And as well as that, they have special nictitating membranes that can help shield their eyes, which in the osprey's case are translucent, which protects their eyes and still lets them see when they dive. It's basically a built-in pair of goggles that we're going to be taking, which definitely helps our hybrid, which is going to be semi-aquatic, since it is a baryonyx after all. To ensure our hybrid is smart enough to be sneaky and elusive while being very surgical and strategic in its killing, we need something to enhance its brain. And of course, the best option for this, once again, is a bird, considering they are closest living relatives of dinosaurs. And for birds in the UK, there's quite a few, but I didn't want to go for the traditional ones that people use, the traditional corvids. So many people use things like the crow and the raven, and more recently I've seen other people use things like the magpie and the jay. So I wanted to do something different, and that's where this guy comes in. This is the Western jackdaw, or European jackdaw, or simply jackdaw. It has a lot of names, but this guy will be helping to enhance this creature's brain and its problem-solving capabilities. It definitely works really well, and it's a refreshing change from the typical corvids. Now, when it comes to defense, there's really not many options. I was kind of stretched very thin here. The best armor that creature that the UK has is a fish, but even then, that fish could have problems out of water. So I decided to go with the next best thing, an animal that you would definitely more associate with the UK than any of the others, the hedgehog, which I'm taking for its large spines. May not be as effective as a porcupine, but it just still provides some decent protection, as well as a decent amount of venom resistance. However, there is another contributor that will also be contributing to venom resistance later down the line. One of the defining features of Spring-Heeled Jack were its metallic claws. Unfortunately, this wouldn't really be possible. I was hoping that there was a shrew vampire bat combination. Well, that's what I was going for, but unfortunately, out of the 18 species of bats that are in the UK, they're all insectivores. None of them actually eat blood like the vampire bats, so they don't have the iron distribution we need. But that doesn't mean our hybrid will be going into battle completely without metal. There are actually 3 species of iron-toothed shrews that can actually work in the UK. And out of those 3, I'm picking the Eurasian water shrew, the largest of these for its iron teeth, as well as its great venom resistance and venom itself to help fight against other opponents. And also, this works better in congruity than the others due to it being a semi-aquatic shrew, so it works better in congruity. Unfortunately, there are no bats with the iron distribution, so I can't spread the iron to the claws, but that doesn't mean I'm fully excluding bats, because there is still another feature that bats have which make them quite good: echolocation. And if our hybrid is going to be stealthy and elusive, hunting in the night, it needs to be able to navigate very well. It already has great vision, but echolocation will help this. And out of the species of bats, it seems like the noctule bat has the best echolocation out of the bats that are in the UK. So this will be providing the echolocation on this animal, allowing it to better detect its prey in the dark. Finally, to make sure that this creature is completely elusive and hard to find, I'm going to be using something you might not expect. Now, the UK does have quite the diverse range of marine life around its oceans, and of those, the cuttlefish would be the best option, because we're going to be taking its camouflage, allowing this creature to blend in with its environment. The hybrids will never see it coming until they've already been murdered by it. So, without any further ado, here is my entry as the UK representative into this new hybrid war: Wilfred, or his species name, the Ripersaurus Vonheelus, which means spring-heeled ripper lizard. His height comes in at around 3 meters, his length around 12 meters, thanks to the long tail from the iguanodon and the longer snout than other theropods, and he weighs in around 2.5 tons. And I gave him like quite a typical UK name. I mean, I was thinking of calling him Winston, but that seems a bit too on the nose. So, oh, and also, if you're wondering what this head display is, I also took the head display from the Osprey for no real functionality purposes, but just purely for cosmetics, because I just think it would look nice. So yeah, this is definitely a very effective hybrid. I will admit, it is far from perfect. You know, the whole parameter of using only one like country or region to choose your contributors from definitely makes you limited. I mean, I would have wished that the armor would have been better, but I have to just settle with hedgehog spines. But I do think this guy has quite a good chance of making it into this competition. Because, by the way, only real 10 of these animals are going to be selected for this tournament. One with the ones with the best chance of beating Moses. And I feel like this one is definitely a good candidate to win. And there may be other things I have planned for this guy. Wilfred can definitely be used in different scenarios. Now, being a semi-aquatic baryonyx, he's sort of like the middle ground between the smaller and larger hybrids in the mix. And this guy would mainly end up inhabiting things like around rivers and lakes, as well as being around floodplains and swamps. And he also prefers to hunt at night. So, this is my entry into this competition. And speaking of competitions, I'm pleased to announce that the submissions for Bruce's battles are open once again. Unfortunately, only one slot is left. After that, the only submissions I'll be accepting are submissions for the Aquatic Coalition, more specifically entrants for the wild card submission. Because we've already got quite a few of the main rosters that I want, but there's still the wild card that is missing. And I plan to do an episode of Bruce's battles where I take the wild cards and compare them all to see which one is the best. So, good luck to the people competing in the competition. And also, the thing with the deadline of the tournament is coming along really soon. The Great Hybrid Tournament. And I'm really hoping that my other elephant hybrid, can actually make it in. Okay, right now I'm just kind of padding, so I'm just gonna end it now. See ya.